Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our council meeting, April 28th. You see council an agenda there in front of you. Well, we're going to talk mental health, municipal awareness. We're going to talk Huntington's, ovarian cancer, and we have also then what we call the regular business of the city. So council, that is in your agenda, and I'm looking for a motion to start off to adopt. Moved by Councilor Rice, second by Councilor Antle. All in favor? Contraminded? And that's carried. One moment, please. Now it's gone to the attachments. Just bear with me, please, for the land acknowledgement. Yeah, no, there it is right there. I got Ann, thank you. In recognition of the City of Mount Pearl's commitment to foster respectful and collaborative relationships with Indigenous peoples here in the City of Mount Pearl and beyond, we hereby acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Beothuk and the Mi'kmaq. Mount Pearl and the broader metro region continue to be home to diverse Indigenous peoples, including First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. Minutes from the previous meeting, folks, as you see there, recorded on April 14th. Is there any errors or omissions? Don't see any hands up. Okay, I'm going to call for a motion, please, to adopt. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kiley, seconded by Councillor Lane. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Business arising, folks. This is the fast part of the meeting. There's an action report there too. No business arising. I'm ready to go on to proclamations if you are. Well, the first proclamation is in the agenda as World Maternal Mental Health Day. And I'm pleased to welcome, with support of their families, we have Dr. Achara Vijayasankar. Have I got that close, Doctor? Yeah, I'll have to have a lesson when you come up, right? And also Karen Clark, who's the vice chair with the Perinatal Mental Health Alliance, and you are the representatives. Would you like to come up, please? Good to see you both. Hey, we'll do a tutorial later. Well, thank you. So whereas pregnancy and childbirth or adoption and the infant's first year of life should be a period of joy and bonding for the entire family, and whereas 28% of mothers in Newfoundland and Labrador will experience a significant mood disorder during and after pregnancy, possibly leading to a more severe mental illness. And whereas untreated, these mood disorders may lead to premature labor, admission to the neonatal intensive care unit, increased risks of obstetrical complications, lower breastfeeding rates, and poor fetal and infant outcomes. And whereas there are professionals and peers in Newfoundland and Labrador who can assist parents and families deal with mood disorders. So whereas the Perinatal Mental Health Alliance of Newfoundland and Labrador has been created to improve the care provided to birthing persons and their families. I, the Mayor of Mount Pearl, on behalf of my colleagues on council, we do hereby proclaim. Now, the date is May 6th, right? World Mental Health Day here in the city. So what's the, Doctor, what's the significance of the, of May 6th?
So World Maternal Mental Health Day actually started in Canada, so we should be very proud that this is celebrated around the world. And what it does is it highlights the importance around maternal or perinatal mental health because we understand how impactful this can be for parents transitioning through this very vulnerable time. It impacts the parent who is birthing, as well as the non-birthing parent, and as well as the infant, the child that grows up and they themselves become a parent. So we're talking about the generational impact that actually starts in utero, which is so important to capture when we are giving care For so many people, this is the first time they're interacting with a healthcare system, and mental health is so often undertreated, ignored. Physical health becomes a priority, and we want to change that. We want to make sure that mental health is health, and focus on asking how parents are doing, how they are feeling, and so recognizing this during May 6th, but as well as the week. We have events throughout the week, which is exciting, but it's really important to bring attention to this very important matter as it impacts generations to come.
So Karen, I'm thinking that the role of family and partners in supporting people who are, before and after childbirth, is that significant in your world?
Absolutely. Perinatal mental health is a family, is defined as the family's mental health during the perinatal period, not just a person who's giving birth or expecting a child. The outcome, the thing about perinatal mood disorders is that they're highly preventable and highly treatable. Unfortunately, they're not highly recognized as important during the care period of a person in the perinatal period. So with the proper supports, a lot of these mental health issues can be prevented or treated early on quite successfully. So it's really important that we raise that awareness because we know that that's very possible.
Is there still a stigma associated with some of this mental health?
Yes, it is groundbreaking news. Yes, I think particularly for new parents, there's a stigma attached to putting up your hand and saying, I'm struggling, especially when your mental health is linked to your own child's well-being. So it can be a hurdle for people to come forward if they're not certain that the people that they're coming forward to have a compassionate, understanding point of view. Oh, okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you so much for both of you coming in and representing this very important topic. And I'm just going to keep it maybe simple for a question because you bring to mind a really important aspect of this as somebody who has wanted to support somebody who's going through this, somebody who has seen individuals go through this and have had both helpful and not so helpful responses and ways in which they've tried to seek out help but without success. Can I ask, as an individual or as a resident or just as myself, what is the best way to ask in for lack of a better term, the right way to ask somebody, are they okay? Like, what are some key takeaways that people should think about that sometimes feels like common sense, but not always, honestly?
Sometimes it can be the words, and sometimes it can be the presence of being there, of showing up, of knowing that you are someone that they can trust and count on. And sometimes it does take the words and the conversation to say, how are you? But really, how are you? Because the first response we get that you'll get at your appointments with friends and family is, I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. And you have that big speech bubble behind you that has all the other words of the internal, exactly the conversation that's happening. So it's creating a safe space. It's asking in the moment, how are you? It's checking in on your neighbors, your friends, your loved ones, and creating space in communities. Having access is one thing, but knowing that they're not alone, right, is another. And it could just be that one conversation, that one connection that makes them feel less alone. And it's so isolating. I can tell you, it is the most vulnerable time. It is the most isolating time. And we've had so much support from, I'll say from Mount Pearl and communities here, especially Mount Pearl every year. And you guys have shared so much with us. And I sit at tables where, we're talking about advocacy and education and awareness and training, but it takes community. It takes safe spaces here, conversations, signage, messaging, communication, family resource centers, libraries, groups where families feel safe to have those conversations and check-ins and the actual real, how are you?
I want to just add that part of we both work with people in the perinatal period every day. And one thing is like validating the emotions that they're having in the moment. A lot of people in the perinatal period really struggle with coming forward and being honest with the way that they feel because they're met with, but you should be so happy you have a new baby. And then that's followed by a lot of feelings of shame and guilt for having the difficult to have conversation. So my biggest advice to people who want to be a support to other people in the perinatal period is to check yourself first to make sure that you're okay with holding space for uncomfortable emotions. Because if you're not ready for an honest answer, you'll create a lot of discomfort in the relationship that doesn't feel safe to the person to speak with you again.
Counselor Lane and Counselor Rice.
Thank you both for being here. This is so important. I have 3 young children at home, my youngest being 1.5. And I just know that for women after you give birth, or even when you're pregnant, the flux in hormones, it just really makes you feel all kinds of emotions. And, sometimes after you have the baby, it's extreme joy, anxiety, rage, even. And for a mother, you feel really ashamed sometimes when you feel emotion other than happiness when you have a baby because you're so appreciative of this little one that you have, but you can't control the emotions that you feel. And I just think it's so important to bring awareness to that because you're absolutely right that there is a stigmatization. And it really takes a community. And I think it's wonderful how many groups we have now in our province for young mothers where they're able to build relationships. Because when you have that circle of people who are experiencing the same thing, it makes it a lot more comfortable to have those tough conversations. And it's absolutely so important. I think most people that I know who have had babies and have struggled with their mental health, before they were even able to recognize that in themselves, it was their close friends, their family members, their partners who were able to recognize the change in their behaviors. And they were like, you know what? I don't know if you're okay. Let's go to a doctor and figure out what's going on. And I think that's just so valuable because when you're the one who's going through it, it's hard to recognize the change in yourself. So I'm just really glad to see how we're progressing in terms of resources and recognition to maternal mental health. So thank you very much.
Counselor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. No, I just wanted to speak. I've attended, I think, the last 2 or 3 years a session. You guys do a phenomenal job. Well put together. Symposium was fantastic. I'm glad I attended as a support side, and because I know the supports are so important. And one of the things that stuck out to me last year, and I certainly remember it, was parents having their first child and having no support, like a mother-in-law or father or mother or in the community, like going to a different area. It was so important. The supports is so important. And one thing I was really blown away by was the how the husband is affected just as much, even sometimes more than the woman that's having the child. Just like was some of the information that you gave there was fantastic. And anyway, welcome to Mount Pearl, and I wish you nothing but the best on your symposium now on Friday coming up, next Friday the 8th, right? Yeah. Anyway, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Shall we do a snap? Thank you. Come on. Oh, it's the video anchor. Who is? All right. We're now going to talk about May the 8th. And that is World Ovarian Cancer Day. And we're joined by an energetic bunch today who are with Bells with Balls. And I believe our former CAO, Michelle Peach, I think has been involved with this much so in the past, right? Yeah. So I'm pleased to bring up to the witness stand, no, up to the front of the room. We've got Barbie King and Janice Ryan. Ladies, if you'd come up, I know Councillor Fry is going to speak to this one, guaranteed. Yeah. Best to come over here, just if that works for you. Good to see you, by the way. Thanks. Whereas ovarian cancer has no early detection testing, and also ovarian cancer symptoms are often confused with less severe illnesses. And whereas ovarian cancer has the lowest survival rate of all female cancers, and as many as 23% of women with ovarian cancer have an inherited genetic mutation. And whereas genetic testing is a way to identify people at high risk before they develop ovarian cancer, now therefore let it be resolved that we, and I, the Mayor of Mount Pearl, on behalf of my colleagues, we do hereby proclaim Wednesday, the 8th of May, as World Ovarian Cancer Day. And we encourage all of our residents and our folks, all folks in the province, to talk to their health providers about ovarian cancer and to seek to learn more about the disease. And ladies, you've taken a little bit of a different approach because, you know, it's a very serious topic, very personal. It affects a lot of people, women and families. But you seem to have a bit of gusto in the way you go about it, right? To at least have a bit of fun and enjoy. And I think earlier you said you've raised quite a bit of money. And although it's not always about the dollars, it's more about people's health, but the two go hand in hand sometimes.
I don't usually use a mic after 33 years of teaching and in a gym and stuff like that. You tend to, Anyway, Bells with Balls is a group of 100% volunteer women, and we're non-for-profit. And we raised funds for ovarian cancer awareness, research, and education, and overall women's health. And we've been at it now since 2018. And our little group has raised over $1 million. We've donated $300,000 towards the Da Vinci robotic arm at the Health Science, and that fell under us because it deals with women's gynecological cancers as well as colon rectal cancer, prostate cancer, and that sort of thing. So even though we're a group of women with the balls to take ovarian cancer on, because ovaries are the lady balls. So, but anyway, that's where it came from. And we also purchased a high-tech perfusion pump for the cancer center, and that shoots the warm radiation in the stomach, chemo, in the stomach when they're doing the surgeries for 11 different abdominal cancers. So again, it's women's cancers, but it's also men, women, and children. So we've done things like we run symposiums, and our symposium will be in September, and it's usually at the med school. Barbie?
I can't remember the date. I think it's the 27th.
27th. So it's an educational kind of thing, and there's a little bit of fun involved too, because ovarian cancer is a silent killer, and thank God it's getting out there more and more. And we fund research too, of which some of our research has been written up in medical magazines. There's been a gene detected that, if you happen to have that gene, then you could talk to your doctor and they would be able to help you with some proactive kind of, treatments and testing and stuff like that. We've done dry labs for the med school. We've done, other things. Anyway, we're always at it. We're always looking for new things to raise funds. So I'm just very quickly going to plug. I gave each of you a ribbon. This is our teal ribbon, and it represents strength, research, education, and hope. This is one of our newest little fundraisers, and it's being May 8th, World of Ovarian Cancer Day, we're trying to get as many of these out and being seen. So if anyone is interested, there's on the back of the card, there's a donation button, but also you could visit www.bellswithballs.com and you can do some donating through there. We also have a beautiful handmade quilt, which is, we've had 8 of those now, and it's been done by Bonnie, who was the founder of OCHR, as I was telling you. That was our original Ovarian Cancer Research Education NL group. But in order to do the fundraising, we had to kind of branch out. So we're still OCHR, but we're Bells with Balls as the fundraising arm. Anyway, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer 16 years ago. And third grade, third stage, that's right. Anyway, her sister-in-law is a quilter, and what she did was she got a group of her friends and they made themselves Bonnie's Buddies. So for the past 8 years, she's made this quilt, and they've donated like the material, the quilt, and everything, and they've raised over $50,000 for us with the quilt. We sell the tickets. They do the hard work. We sell the tickets. But yes, and somebody here, who was it? Yes, you said that you came on our Ride for Her. That's another thing that we do. And this year, keep your eyes open because we have a new event. It's called Move for Her. So don't only just ride, you can play pickleball, get a pickleball tournament on the go. You can cross-country ski, bowling would be fun. Pickleball, bowling, cross-country skiing, running, hiking, jumping, partying, dancing, that's moving. Anything that moves, this sort of thing. And so we're really looking forward to that.
One of Bonnie's friends got on a broom.
Yeah. She rode her broom up around through Cowan Heights, and she raised $500 and something riding a broom. I told my dentist, ride your drill and come with me, but it didn't work. But anyway, that's it.
I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues, but Matt, wow, I love the energy, and I can really feel how you feel about it, and I think that's important. No wonder you've raised so much money. You'll have $2 million before you know it. Councillor Fry.
Thank you. You guys are amazing. You've done so much incredible work, and the money that you're raising on behalf of, I'm going to speak on behalf of women here now, on behalf of all women, I say thank you, because there, as you say, ovarian cancer is a silent killer, and the symptoms mimic things that women experience all the time, bloating, bowels, just blah. And I knew nothing about this, I got to be honest, until I first got elected, because I always thought, you get your Pap test done and you're good. But I quickly learned when I first got elected, because this lady used to come in, her name was Susan Glynn, and boy, she was a powerhouse.
Oh,
And she would come in and do her proclamations, and she had a similar passion to you guys. But she educated me and the rest of us at that time. And it really was an eye-opener for me, because it's not the kind of thing that you would even think about. So what you guys do, like the awareness and making people aware. I recently had a couple of months ago, just over a month ago, I had a friend pass with ovarian cancer. She didn't know she had it. It just happened so quickly. And when she passed, it was, I think, stage 4. And like I say, the symptoms of ovarian cancer are symptoms that most women will just pass off as nothing. So keep up the good work with what you do and keep spreading that because it will save lives. And like I say, when Susan used to come in, like she was such a powerhouse. We used to
She
love to
was.
see her come. She was so passionate. Unfortunately, she didn't. She died. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago now. And to see you guys here, oh, thank you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for doing this and all that you do for women.
Thank you. Susan did, she had Women of Hope was her group, and we did the research education and overall women's health. She did more of like awareness, that kind of a thing. So we collaborated together on many things, and between us, it was, but she was a very passionate person. And her sister lives with her legacy, Nikki. She'll do things like, for example, Susan's birthday was this past week. So she posted like it was going to be her sister's 60th birthday and anybody would like to donate. And she does that sort of stuff too.
Councillor Antle.
Hi guys, if I don't say hello because my sister-in-law Tara is watching and I want to make sure she sees this. Right? I just text Tara and she said, thank you very much that we're doing this proclamation. And one thing I found with the Bells with Balls, I mean, it's like you were just saying, it's always full of life and you're always happy. It's not, every time I go to a function, it's always like as a family, like Tara's a survivor, it's always full of life, full of hope, and you have fun. And it's really good that you can do that for that group. And whatever you can do to support you guys. Support you guys is great. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Hi, Tara.
Hi, Tara.
Hi, Tara.
She's a Ryan as well. Shall we do a snap?
Yes, please.
All right. May 10th to the 16th is Municipal Awareness Week, and I know our CAO, despite her busy schedule, the schedules of our CEO and our directors will be planning a few things, I would imagine. So whereas municipal government is responsible for the provision of services that enhance the quality of life of its citizens, and whereas dedicated mayors, councillors, and staff are essential for the effective governance of their municipalities. Whereas collaboration, partnerships, and citizen involvement are essential for active, sustainable, and vibrant communities. And whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize and encourage the contribution of all who work diligently for the improvement of municipalities. Therefore, let it be proclaimed that May the 10th to the 16th of 2026 be known as Municipal Awareness Week in all municipalities here in Newfoundland and Labrador, especially here in the city of Mount Pearl, in recognition of the vital role of municipal government and in recognition of all those efforts that support it. And I see this is supported by the Honorable Chris Tibbs, the Minister of Municipal and Community Affairs, Councillor Amy Cody, who represents the town of Grand Falls, Windsor, but she's also President of Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador, and Ms. Connie Reed, who is President of the Professional Municipal Administrators. We hereby proclaim May 10th to the 26th to be Municipal Awareness Week. And CAO, I've always said, we are the guiding light here at the council table, the board of directors sometimes, if you will, but it's the staff that do the work. I wish I could drive a snowplow or pick up the garbage, but I know it's not the mayor or councils that do that. We have a fine team of people, not only in this room, at the council table and the staff table, but I think it's really important to recognize the great work that our staff do, and I think that's what Municipal Awareness Week is all about.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so it is. I mean, we've got almost 300 people that conduct the service of the city, and each of them are valued for the contributions that they give every day. So the city doesn't operate Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. It's a 24/7, 365 operation, and we have a very dedicated team who continuously go above and beyond, and we're very proud of our workforce and the work that they do to deliver some of the best services in the region and in the country, quite frankly. So I want to send a big thank you to our team, but also an encouragement to take that value and understand that it matters to our residents and it matters to our businesses, and they see the difference that the city of Mount Pearl brings every single day to their lives. So a big thank you. I look forward to some details coming out of ways that we will celebrate and pull back the curtain on the operation of the city in Municipal Awareness Week, the week after next. So stay tuned and check our website and Facebook for a look into that.
Thank you. Anybody want to comment before we move on to the next proclamation? It's easy to take it for granted, isn't it? You know, we live this every day, more so staff than council, but it's nice to pause and just recognize all the good work. And I'm glad the minister, MNL, and PMA have also taken the time to address the issue as well. Okay. With your leave, council, I'm going to move on to a proclamation as it relates to Huntington Disease Awareness Month, and I have Courtney Farr here, and she's come from afar, and she's the co-president of the Newfoundland and Labrador chapter of the Huntington Society. Is that Newfoundland Labrador chapter? Yeah. Hi, Courtney. Good to see you. Whereas Huntington disease is a hereditary neurodegenerative illness with physical, cognitive, and emotional symptoms for which there is no cure. 1 in every 7,000 Canadians has HD, as they sometimes refer to it as, and approximately 1 in every 5,500 is at risk of developing the disease. Many are touched by HD as a caregiver, family member, or friend. HD causes cells in specific parts of the brain to pass away. The disease leads to incapacitation and eventually death. It is likened to experience the symptoms of ALS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and schizophrenia all in one. Huntington Disease Awareness Month reflects the Huntington Society of Canada's mission, which is to aspire to a world free from HD. HSC, as the Huntington Society is often referred to, celebrates the resilience and hope demonstrated by the HD community. HSC aims to maximize the quality of life of people living with HD by delivering support services, enabling others to understand the disease, and supporting further breakthroughs in research to find treatments that address the root cause. HSC works with health and social services professionals to enable them to better serve people living with HD. HSC is a respected leader in the worldwide effort to end Huntington disease. HSC is the only national health charity dedicated to providing help and hope for families dealing with HD across our country. Therefore, on behalf of Council, we hereby proclaim the month of May to be Huntington Disease Awareness Month here in the city of Mount Pearl. I will affix our signature. Courtney, welcome. The challenges are still there, aren't they?
Testing. Yes, so they've come a long way, especially in the last 10 years, but they're still in clinical trial stages. We don't currently have a treatment for Huntington's disease. There's a lot of challenges that come with that they have to deal with, especially since it's a rare disease. Sometimes that can get sidelined if it's not financially worth it. So we need people to advocate and awareness and make sure that we can find a treatment or a cure, hopefully.
Guess that's the aim, is to, in the meantime, with a cure not at hand, is to make sure that families are supported and people who are suffering from this affliction are supported as well, right? Yeah. Anybody want to comment on that? Any further comments? No? Shall we do a proclamation? Sorry, a picture for the proclamation?
I did want to add just a couple.
Yes, please, help yourself.
Yes. So caregivers are a big thing. And so we definitely need support for caregivers and we do have an amazing social worker now. It used to be Elaine. She is now retired, but she does have a good replacement. And she does her best to get things on nutrition and occupational therapy, long-term care, and information out to people across the province. So she does go up to Labrador. It's quite a task for her. Yeah. And this year, one of our members is ending her fight with Huntington's through MAID. And so this year we're dedicating our Huntington's Walk on May 23rd to Lorraine Thornhill. Yeah. So that'll be at Kitty Vitty. And we also have one in Grand Falls, Windsor for the first time. So that's pretty exciting for me.
Looking at Councillor Fry over there.
Courtney, thank you so much for coming in. And I mean, the fact that you're here talking about it, that is the most important thing, to make people aware. Because I don't know if many people really know what Huntington disease truly is. You know, you hear about it, but when I read a lot of these symptoms, or the cognitive, the physical, all of these things, that's pretty heavy. So what would be the early signs? What would somebody watch for?
Unfortunately, there's not exactly a blueprint. Most people, it's usually the movement of the disorder that they really recognize, because it gets similar to like Parkinson's in that movement kind of way with the tremors. But there's all sorts of cognitive issues. They can be a little bit irritated and irritable because their brains aren't working the way they used to. It can be very frustrating for them. So there's a really great person on YouTube, Jimmy Pallard, and he has a hurry up and wait presentation and basically explains how to talk to people with Huntington's, because you almost have to wait for them to answer before you answer another question, because it can get very agitating for them. And I think that could be used for other probably brain illnesses as well. It's just like, I'm a quick talker, so I could remember being very frustrating probably for like my dad.
Well, I think it's great that you're here, and it's really important, and so glad to see you here tonight. Thank you.
I'll make one final thing. That's okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. And as part of one other campaign that we have, it's the Light It Up for HD. And you guys are lighting up City Hall for me on the May 11th to May 15th. So thank you for that. So I will be purple and blue. Yep. And this is our new shirt. Thanks.
Thanks for coming in, and we're happy to have you here. And we offer what support we can, but I know you see a lot of challenges every day and a lot of hard work from you and your volunteers associated with it. So good luck with the walk and the Light It Up campaign, and we're really glad to do that for you. All right.
Thanks so much.
All right, next on the agenda, we have the Corporate Services Report, and it's going to be led off by Counselor Antle.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Worship. I have a few here in the kit there. You can take a look for invoices for approval for April the 28th. And you can see them in your kit there. There's 26 totaling for $1,043,002.38. There's a couple there that I bring your attention to. One there is for $430,480. We do have salt, and we paid for salt. And a good thing we do have salt. Takes care of our city, and that's a good thing to have. There's also a couple there regarding the St. John's Metrobus, and there are total, there's one there for $110,000, and that's a monthly bill. So we do pay our bills, and we're certainly our regional partner. And I so move.
It is moved by Counselor Antle, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Any questions, comments? I'll call the question. All in favor? And those contra-minded? Nay, none. Motion passed. Back to you.
And the second one there has to do with our payment register and purchase card report. For the information of council, the attached payment register report for April the 8th to the 21st, 2026, totaling $1,319,336.82. And the purchase card report for February 26th to March 25th, 2026 for $779,272.54. And that's just for your information. Any questions? And now we have some policies to update, and some of these are quite lengthy, and without reading all the policies, they are in your kit. But the first one has to do with the city amenity and naming policy and street naming policy. The street naming policy provides a clear and consistent framework for naming and, in limiting circumstances, renaming streets in the city of Mount Pearl. At its core, the policy supports public safety, efficient municipal addressing, and effective emergency response, while also ensuring street names reflect the city's values and character. The policy ensures the street names support emergency services and 911 by avoiding duplication and confusion. They follow a consistent and transparent process. They reflect Mount Pearl's history, culture, geography, and community identity, and are ultimately reviewed by council for approval. One of the key strengths in the policy is a strong focus on public safety and clarity. All proposed street names are carefully reviewed to prevent duplication or similar sounding names and are vetted by the Regional Emergency Service before final approval. Another strength is the emphasis on community identity and local relevance. The policy encourages names that reflect local history, geography, cultural heritage, indigenous knowledge, and meaningful community contributions, helping to foster a strong sense of place. When street renaming is necessary, the policy includes a public engagement process. Overall, the street naming process reflects municipal best practices by balancing public safety, community identity, transparency, and accountability, while ensuring Mount Pearl street names are named thoughtfully and responsibility. Our next policy that we'll change, we'll do both together, is city amenity naming policy. And that's always been asked about how we name our buildings. The city amenity naming policy provides a clear and consistent approach for naming and, in limited circumstances, renaming city-owned amenities such as parks, playgrounds, trails, and municipal facilities. It outlines what types of names are appropriate, our proposals are reviewed, and confirms that council makes the final decision. The purpose of this policy is to ensure the city amenity names are chosen fairly and transparently, reflective of Mount Pearl's community values, history, and identity, evaluated through a consistent and well-defined process, and are guided by clear rules when sponsorship or naming rights are considered. Ultimately, the policy protects public trust while providing council with a strong, consistent framework for decision-making. The policy strengths include a clear priority for names that reflect local history, geography, and meaningful community contributions, reinforcing a strong sense of place and civic pride. It also limits the renaming of existing amenities to specific circumstances, such as sponsorship agreements or when a name no longer aligns with community values, ensuring stability and respect for history. In addition, the policy allows for sponsorship and naming rights agreements under clear and controlled conditions, helping the city recognize significant contributions and generate revenue while maintaining oversight of branding and community standards. Overall, this policy reflects recognized municipal best practices by balancing community identity, transparency, fiscal responsibility, and council authority. The committee recommends to adopt the street naming policy and city amenity naming policy as amended and rescinding the street naming dedication ceremony policy, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Antle and seconded by Deputy Mayor Kiley. Questions? Just a refreshing update to our policy. Any further thoughts? I'll call the question. All in favor? And those opposed? That motion's carried.
And number 4 is regarding community sponsorship and our fundraising policy. The city sponsorship and fundraising policy provides a clear and transparent framework for how the City of Mount Pearl supports eligible community groups through sponsorships and fundraising opportunities. The purpose of this policy is to ensure that city support benefits Mount Pearl residents and the broader community, enhances community programs, events, and services that align with the city's mandate and strategic plan, is provided in a manner that is fair, transparent, and accountable, ensures responsible stewardship of public funds and city resources. One of the key strengths of the policy is a strong focus on fairness and transparency. All sponsorship requests follow the same application process and evaluated using criteria including community impact, alignment with city priorities, and demonstrated needs. This ensures decisions are made consistently and responsibility. Another strength is the policy's emphasis on the responsible use of public resources. Sponsorships are prominently delivered through the use of city facilities, services, or programs. Cash sponsorships are permitted only in limited circumstances, helping ensure our fiscal responsibility. This policy also clearly defines who is eligible and who is not, ensuring city sponsorship supports not-for-profit community groups, while excluding requests that are commercial, divisive, discriminatory, or inconsistent with city values and accessibility commitments. Finally, the policy maintains strong council oversight, allowing flexibility for council to act in the best interest of the city where appropriate. The committee recommends adopting the community sponsorship and fundraising policy, and I so move.
Again, moved by Councillor Antle and seconded by the Deputy Mayor Kiley. Any questions, comments? Another refresh of our policy to make tune with the times. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Carried.
And the last one has to do with Masonic Park, and this is a great opportunity. Masonic Park is looking for some funding, and we're looking for housing. So we're working hand in hand with the Masonic Park and using our half funding. And without going through the whole kit, it's all there in your kit, but the department recommends approving the waiver of permit fees in the amount of up to $50,000 and to provide $50,000 in upfront housing auxiliary fund, that's the half funding, for the Masonic Park and development, both eligible under the Housing Accelerator Fund incentive program. This will be normally issued upon receiving occupancy permit under the current program guidelines. This recommendation is based on the project's strong alignment with our half objectives, its focus on non-profitable, affordable seniors housing, and a significant contribution toward meeting the city's affordable housing targets. Staff further noted that the proposed support is consistent with incentives previously approved under this program, and I'm proud to say I so move.
Again, it's moved by Councillor Antle, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kiley. Yeah, good move forward. There's certainly a big demand for seniors housing, certainly for affordable seniors housing. Comments, questions, anybody? I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Very agreeable tonight. Motion carried.
And that's everything from me, Your Worship. Thank you very much.
Well, I think what we should do then is move on to the Public Works Report, and I'm looking over at Councillor Fry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have a status report update for tonight. Our roads division are continuing with ice control as required, and pothole repairs are ongoing. As we mentioned last week, if anybody sees a pothole, please report it. Street and sidewalk sweeping has begun, and the roads division are also doing litter cleanup. And I'm going to stop on this one for a second, because keeping the city clean is not solely the responsibility of our city staff. It belongs to all of us. We need to clean up around our homes and around our businesses and keep Mount Pearl clean. It's a respect thing for neighbors and for our city and for our community. I know this time of year there's a lot of litter because after the winter and the snow goes, then you see it a lot. And that's where our staff are helping, but it's important that everybody does their part. And I know we have some upcoming litter cleanups. So if you can, please take part. And if you can't, just keep it clean around your property. Our Parks Division, the trail maintenance is ongoing and litter cleanup there as well. It's a common theme here. Our Fleet Division, we have ongoing service and maintenance. And of course, as always, our UTM division continue with their general calls, their water, sewer, and sewer repairs, their fire hydrant repairs, their leak detection, lift station inspection repairs and maintenance. And finally, for us, as you can see in your kit, the water levels of Babel's Big Pond as of April the 21st are very healthy. And that's it for a status report, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No comments, questions. Then we'll turn to Recreation. Deputy Mayor Kiley, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. And we have two items for Recreation this evening. One is an approval and the other is for your information. I'm going to move right on to a recommendation from our I note that it says committee, Your Worship. Should we say the division rather than committee?
Committee of the whole, perhaps, sometimes, I believe is the reference.
Absolutely. Okay. So we're recommending recommendation coming straight from Committee of the Whole regarding the Association for the Association for the Arts in Mount Pearl first installment of their operating grant and to release those funds. The committee recommends that council approve the release of the first installment of AMP's 2026 operational grant in the amount of $5,000 as approved through the 2026 budget process, and I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Kiley, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Lane. I also thank you. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question to approve the $5,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Your Worship. And that leads us to our next and last item for recreation this evening, which is for the information of council and the public. I'd like to highlight some recreational events and events that will be happening throughout our community. The first is the Down Home Expo that will be happening at the Glacier Arena. The annual Down Home Expo will take place at the Glacier Arena from Friday, May 8th to Sunday, May 10th. And the Down Home Expo is the largest trade show trade show and marketplace in Newfoundland and Labrador. It will be featuring a wide variety of exhibitors from multiple industries. It will be taking place at the Glacier Arena 1. My mistake. It'll be the Glacier Arena 1 will host the games, giveaways, and family fun zone, a marketplace, a tourism section, and numerous local and provincial exhibitors. The event will open to the public at the following times: Friday, May 8th, 3 to 8 p.m., Saturday, May 9th, 10 to 6 p.m., Sunday, May 10th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you can visit the Down Home Expo website at downhomeexpo.com for all the details, including admission rates. And the expo offers a fun and engaging experience for all ages, and it really does provide an opportunity to support local businesses while enjoying our entertainment activities throughout the week. And there's nothing better than just supporting the economic development of our city and throughout this region. And there's going to be some wonderful places. I recommend everyone to come take a look and just see what all the wonderful things we have to offer. We also have some Mount Pearl Marlin swim meet and pool cancellations that we'd like to just identify. The Mount Pearl Marlins will host a swim meet at the Summit pool from Friday, May 8th through Sunday, May 10th. So the swim meet will bring about 200 swimmers from Mount Pearl, St. John's, CBS, and Carbonear. And as a result, of course, regular swim programming and swim lessons will be impacted throughout these dates. And we do apologize for any inconvenience this might cause, and we do appreciate your understanding. All additional details, including canceled swims and schedules and such, are available on our website and are posted throughout our facility. And thank you for your cooperation. We wish, of course, all the participants, swimmers, and families that will be visiting the best of luck. And just notice, this is happening the same time as the expo. What a great time for the families and visitors to pop on out and take a look at what's happening over on the other arena. Finally, and not at all least, we have an excellent opportunity and for anyone who's in the city, FIFA World Cup 2026. The city wishes to advise residents of an upcoming public viewing event at the Team Gushu complex for the FIFA World Cup 2026 game on June 1st, 2026. And of course, the FIFA World Cup game is scheduled to begin at 10:30 p.m. and will be shown on a large outdoor screen until 12 a.m. I can't think of a better way to come together and celebrate as a community, in fact, as a province and as a country. And as part of the Canada Celebrates, the city will host an event commencing between 4 and 4:30. Additional event details will be provided closer to the date, of course, and all logistics are being reviewed such so that the sound equipment and setup and recognizing that all events will extend beyond 11 p.m. So, of course, due to the global broadcast, a limited extension is permitted and is expected to be minimal. For clarification, basically for section 16A and B of the city's noise bylaws provides an exemption for anyone working on behalf of the city in performance of duties in connection specific work, which includes musicians, performers, and providing outdoor entertainment. So basically, we are covered, folks. And this notice is being shared for resident awareness. The city's communications divisions will also share information and updates throughout the city's social media platforms. And thank you very much for your cooperation. But I am so excited about this event and more details to come.
All good? Comments, questions? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We're going to move on now to Community Safety. Councillor Lane.
Thank you very much. The Community Safety Division continues to deliver engagement-driven and preventative initiatives that enhance safety, inclusion, and awareness. Highlights for this period include RISE activity and outcomes. Between April 12th to the 23rd, the city delivered the RISE program, which included a series of inclusive community activities supporting wellness, connection, and skill development. Participation numbers were as followed. Brazilian Night had 11 participants, Paper Making had 9 participants, Microfinance had 5 participants, Women and Girls Swim had 22 participants, and the 2SL GBTQIA+ community Community Swim had 93 participants. An evaluation report from Elevate Her highlighted positive momentum and skill growth across skill swap, cultural wellness, and expanded access through virtual class delivery, including microfinance and legal cafe sessions. Attendance spanned from 19 to 45, indicating engagement across a broad adult demographic. Ongoing barriers identified included transportation challenges, weather-related disruptions, and the reality that target populations often require time to build trust and sustained engagement. Despite these challenges, outcomes reflect steady progress and meaningful participation across programs. And guys, I think that's a very important point, that now that we're trying to target and create more inclusive events, it's going to take time for people to feel comfortable and that it's a safe space for them to attend. So I hope that these numbers, people don't see these numbers as lack of engagement, but instead the city offering new activities that people are starting to participate in, and I think it's only going to grow with the more work that we do. Fraud prevention presentation. Municipal Enforcement Officer Danielle Gravette and Bobby Stanford, representing the city's Crime Prevention Committee and the Community Safety and Wellbeing Steering Committee, delivered a fraud and scam prevention presentation to the Salvation Army Women's Ministries. The session provided the most up-to-date information on common scams, prevention strategies, and reporting options. The presentation also included an overview of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, upcoming senior safety walks, and RISE programming, emphasizing the role of community connection in both addressing food insecurity and preventing crime. Despite inclement weather, the session was well attended and generated strong engagement and discussion. Similar presentations are available through municipal enforcement or the Mount Pearl Citizens Crime Prevention Committee for other agencies and community organizations. These sessions aim to strengthen collaboration, raise awareness, and build community knowledge and practical crime prevention strategies. We also have Youth Week coming up, and we'll be having the Qs and Cruisers. That'll be happening on May 5th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. The annual Qs and Cruisers event will take place with the participation from multiple enforcement and public safety partners, including Mount Pearl Enforcement, Her Majesty's Penitentiary, Paradise Enforcement, the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, and Campus Enforcement. This initiative aligns with community safety and well-being plan priorities by fostering positive youth engagement and building strong trust between young people and enforcement agencies. The event provides an informal, welcoming setting where youth can interact with officers and learn about the collaborative roles these agencies play in keeping the community safe while enjoying a billiards tournament and community barbecue. During Youth Week, we'll also be having an inclusive youth event. Municipal Enforcement will partner with Elevate Her to host an inclusive youth event on May 7th from 5 to 8:30 p.m. for 2SL LGBTQIA+ youth and allies. The event will focus on creative expression and connection through a linoleum block printing workshop, introducing participants to this traditional hand printing technique. The session will conclude with snacks and a movie, providing a relaxed and welcoming environment for social connection. This initiative supports community safety and well-being priorities by fostering inclusion, positive engagement, and safe spaces for youth to connect, express creativity, and build community. We also have our enforcement guided safe seniors and family evening walks. Safe senior walks are tentatively scheduled to resume in mid-May. For the upcoming season, walking trails and mug-up locations will be predetermined to improve accessibility, consistency, and ease of participation for attendees. Family evening walks will continue throughout the season with rotating locations beginning in May to encourage broader community participation and neighborhood engagement. Together, these initiatives support active living, social connection, and community safety across age groups. And that's it for my report this evening. Thank you.
Well delivered. But one comment I had, it's not about the numbers, it's about the impact. And I think even though I think the context of some of those numbers in the early part of your presentation, the context was there's more engagement to come, but I think the impact that you're having on some people's lives is tremendous, probably very difficult to measure, but people are coming out, and if they feel safe and socially connected, that's going to snowball. Councillor Fry.
That's a really good point. And I just wanted to make note, when we first had our community swim for the 2S LGBTQIA+ community, I think it might have been around 30, correct me if I'm wrong, and now we're at 93. So it's just as Councillor Lane said, building trust and getting the word out there and letting people know that it's safe to come. It's okay. And one of the things I just wanted to comment on here, there's something for every part of our community. it's incredible the work that this committee is doing. They're so active, they're so engaged, and there's no stone unturned, you know? So when you talk about community safety and well-being, this is just extraordinary. So if, you know, they're doing a really, really great job, and we're really lucky to have this. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to turn to the next report, which is engineering. Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. Our first one is our capital works update. For the information, attention, and consideration of council and the public. Farrell Drive Pump House upgrades construction ongoing is 40% complete. 2025 concrete works construction is 90% complete. Work to resume in the spring of 2026. The White Boulevard upgrades construction to resume. It's around 60% complete. That'll be ongoing now sometime this spring and the summer. Our sewage lift station, which is on Mount Carson Avenue, construction is ongoing. It's 90% complete. Our Jackman Drive upgrades, construction has begun. It's 5% complete. Our water tower access road, construction is resumed, 45% complete. Our water storage tank, our design build construction is ongoing. It's 17% complete. Our Glencoe culvert replacement, construction is 95% complete on that project. The final tidy up will be in the spring of 2026. Our T-Rail crossing, Commonwealth Avenue, construction 50% complete. Construction to resume now in the spring of 2026. And our 2026 asphalt crack sealing work to begin the late spring of 2026. Our 2026 to 2028 street marking, construction to begin in the early into mid-May of 2026. Is that pretty soon? As soon as all the weather is all cleared up. Hopefully no more snow. Our next one is our number 2. It's our engineering. Just a second, I just open it up here. This one is our title is a 2020 to 2023 multi-year capital works funding program. So request for the revisit White Boulevard, our multi-year capital works funding program project completion extension. So the province requested that the city revise the date of the project completion to December the 31st, 2026, instead of the previous request of June the 30th, 2027. The province has notified the city that a revised council meeting minute must be submitted for provincial approval. So the engineering on the bottom. So under recommendation, planning, engineering, development staff recommends that council approve the revisit project completion date of December the 31st, 2026 for the White Boulevard project and enter into an amended agreement with the province. And I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Rice, seconded by Councillor Antle, that we adopt the recommendation. Everybody okay with it? I'll call the question. All in favor? Contraminded, and that's carried.
Thank you, and that's it for our report.
Well, moving on to the next report, Deputy Mayor Connolly for Planning and Development.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have 2 items for planning and development tonight. Both require a decision of council. The first is if the Principal Holdings Limited address 629 to 631 Kenmount Road. And those, it's a planned development for 2 buildings on 1 lot. So the committee recommends that council approve the proposed planned development, a secondary building for a combined restaurant and drive-through use, enter into a development agreement with the property owner, and require its subsequent registration on the property title and authorize the issuance of a development permit. And I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Connolly, seconded by Councillor Lane. Comments, questions? That development is moving quite along very handily.
It's good to see.
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Contraminded, and carried.
That moves us right on to our second and final item for planning and development, which is at the address is 90 Glendale, and it's a variance, and it's for the committee of the whole to recommend approval of the requested variance to permit a maximum height of 4.9 meters for the proposed accessory building at 90 Glendale Avenue, and I so move.
It is moved by Deputy Mayor Kiley and again seconded by Councillor Lane. Any comments? Hearing none. I'll call the question. All in favor? And those opposed? Carried. New
And that is all for
business?
me.
Yeah, sorry about
That's
that.
all for
Yeah,
me,
I'll-
Your
yeah.
Worship.
Well, you keep your microphone on because I believe you are first for a quick roundtable, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Your Worship. And in fact, there's nothing for me tonight.
What a great example. You've had a busy day. Overdue, Councillor Randall.
I didn't have anything but just some condolences to pass on, and that's the only reason I have anything to say. Just on Saturday night, we lost one of our regional firefighters, Jim O'Toole. And I think most of us here around the council table know Jim. I don't know him personally, but I know him professionally, as I was co-chair of the regional fire for a few years. And every time I went to a meeting, Jim would go out of his way to come over and chat. You know, how's things going in Mount Pearl? And he paid attention. He knew I was elected. He knew who Councillor Fry was. She was on the committee at the time. And he'd always go out of the way to make us feel, and I noticed people talk about Jim now, but he made everybody feel that way. He had that unique ability to make everybody feel at home, comfortable. And, you know, that's a unique, anybody can do that. You know, as his position, and he was a union president, you know, he was first and foremost worried about the firefighters, but he made everybody feel at home. Like we did Fire Ops 101. I remember this one here. We had to go through some scary stuff, and you know, for councillors. But you know, and he made jokes about, but they drove home how important it was. So I think we as a city have lowered our flags, and I think if we can send a card of condolences to his wife and to the regional firefighters, it would be nice. And I didn't know him personally, but professionally, where he's certainly going to be missed. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very moving, very touching. Thank you. Over to Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. I'm going to speak on Jimmy as well. 46 years old, young man. I knew Jimmy personally through the volleyball world. And I met him a couple of times at the regional fire, and we always had a conversation about volleyball, and he was quite the athlete. I got to say, he was really a good volleyball player. But you know, so sad. I mean, his wife Crystal, sons Ryan and Gavin. You know, they really had a really bond, and it was very funny in a comment that one of the guys made. A good friend of ours, Fintan Godet from Corner Brook, made a comment there, and he said, you know, Jimmy's two sons, even though Jimmy was such a good volleyball player, his two sons played every sport except volleyball. So I just want to say again, you know, certainly condolences on behalf of the city and everybody around the table, and also the volleyball world. He's certainly going to be missed. The second one I got is I just want to say a big congratulations and a thank you from all of council. I'm going to speak on behalf of all council to a very close person to us that does a lot around the table for us, and it's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. She don't get recognized very often, but Administrative Professional Day was this week. And I just want to say a big thank you to Ann Pico. She's down there keeping minutes of the meeting, and I'm going to put her on the spot. But I just want to say on behalf of myself and all council, you do an amazing job. We are so organized all the time because of you. All the stuff is already there for us. We don't have to go. If we do look for stuff, it's usually probably we overlooked it. But you're so professional. You do such a great job, and you got such a calm, demeaning personality, and you really make us look good. So thank you for everything you do. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
She's so busy working, she hasn't got a chance. Yeah, no, well said, Councillor Rice, and always, and thank you for all your hard work for the city. Over to you, Councillor Lane.
Thank you. This morning at Mount Pearl Intermediate, we had our first ever Grandparents' Day, and it was a huge success. There were so many happy grandparents and students, and it really showed what different community groups coming together can really achieve. The Lions Club came and they helped out, so did the Connect Club, and as a city, you know, we also donated for refreshments, which of course made a huge impact. So thank you to everybody that was involved because it was really, really heartwarming to see students getting to connect. And a lot of them sat with their friends, grandparents that they didn't have a grandparent there themselves, and they got to make connections with somebody new that way as well. So it was really, really great, and it's going to be an annual thing. So looking forward to next year.
Cool. Over to you, Counselor Fry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of things for me, maybe a few. I just want to acknowledge this past Thursday, we held our Best of Mount Pearl Awards. So I just want to send out a congratulations. I'm not going to name everybody because they're all so amazing, but just to say congratulations to the award winners and the nominees because we had a great selection. The event was lovely. It was really well attended. We also celebrated our volunteers that night. And that's one thing that we do well here in Mount Pearl because we certainly appreciate, we've had a lot of strong volunteerism in our city. We're known for that and we're very fortunate. We don't take that for granted. So any opportunity we have to celebrate them, we'll do so. And I think we did in fine style. Also, coming up next week, we have our Youth Week because we also celebrate our youth. So just to give you some examples of the things that are taking place, which I think are fabulous. I think our team did a great job. There's a glow swim and a light show with DJ Jewel. I mean, doesn't that not sound fun? That's on Friday night. And then there's music and games night. There's glow Nerf battle. There's pickleball. There's barbecue, cruise, and cruisers event, as Councillor Lane mentioned earlier. There's a night of the arts, and there's a 3-point free throw challenge. There's an inclusive block printing and movie social. So, I mean, there's such a variety. There's something for everybody. And I know that this is going to be huge because we have great kids here in our city, and there's something here for everybody. And speaking of which, we're going to celebrate them too at our Focus on Youth Awards next week. And that's always one that I look forward to because we have such incredible youth. And to get out and celebrate them and to see their accomplishments. And sometimes I just shake my head because their resumes, I look at their resumes and they're not even 20 years old yet. And then I look at my resume and I think, holy smokes, like they're the trajectory that they're on for life. It's really incredible. And that's what we need to celebrate. We need to celebrate youth and their accomplishments because they certainly deserve it. And finally, for me, I just want to throw this out because a number of weeks ago, the Girl Guides had their 100th anniversary of Thinking Day, and they were in here for our council, and they had a community barbecue and a food drive planned, and it got snowed out. So that has been rescheduled to May 3rd. So this coming weekend, on May 3rd from 10 to 12, you will see our Girl Guides, our members of our Marconi district, going door to door and collecting donations of non-perishable food items. So if you have anything available, you can either lay it on the front step or wait till they knock on your door, but please support them because this is a great initiative. Later on that evening at May 3rd from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at St. David's Field is their community campfire. So calling on all the Girl Guides and the former Girl Guides and friends and family of Girl Guides and supporters and allies of Girl Guides, come to the campfire and let's support this and let's have a community campfire on May 3rd. And that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you much. I think the door-to-door campaign they're doing is focused on Power Pond and the St. David's Park area and maybe elsewhere and Asher Drive, eh? Yeah, so no, good on them, and it should be a great culmination of the day. And Director Dalamont's told me it's not going to snow that day, so that was really kind of him, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. His name is Glenn Collins now, or Glenn Batt. Folks, our meeting is coming to an end. I have nothing further to say. Long meeting, but productive, and it's good to see the community coming out. CAO, looking forward to Municipal Awareness Week and see what we're going to be doing. And I want to welcome back to Director Collins. Good to see you, Jason. Nice to have you back. And we're going to go from there. So I'm going to call for a motion. I think it's Councillor Fry and Councillor Lane to shut things down.